With the last quarter moon in Taurus, there's a lot of surrendering to the divine light. Namaste, Star Family. Welcome to the Matrix Oracle. My name is Audrey. This is your cosmic weather forecast for the last quarter moon, August 16th, 2025. This is when we experience a sacred fire between the sun and the moon. In Western astrology, this is going to be in Taurus with that sacred fire in Leo. Those specific degrees are very much about freeing your true essence. There is this sacred alchemy, especially after the activation of the merge between Jupiter and Venus, that is freeing you energetically from old patterns of the past and recalibrating your heart to your womb, your center of creation. Before we continue with what's going on in the cosmos, let's go back into the collective intention that started with this new moon in Leo, where we were encouraged to understand that we are the creator of the vibrational grid, the energy matrix of our life. And we have to understand with the first quarter that this energy that we set up energetically is running through the vessel, through the body, through the cells. And with the full moon illumination, only to understand that everything that happens is happening for us, not to us. Now with this last quarter, which is the last shedding before we can start anew and renewed with our higher awareness and consciousness, what we're seeing is a lot of sacred geometry that is going on, that is helping us to shed any parts of untruth. And there might have been a lot of different phases of loss, of changes, of grief through this process. And why do I'm saying this is because we have here Neptune retrograde and Saturn retrograde in those first degrees of the wheel, which is the first degrees of Aries. This is about will. But what will? The divine will. With the divine will here that is involved in this kite in opposition to Mars, which is part of your nervous system, part of the things that you're repeating like a ritual, the things that you're celebrating, the things that are now no longer part of your vibrational alignment, part of your higher timeline, is actually being shed. And that can be a huge transformative process, but this is what the full moon invitation gave us, is that we have to trust in the divine plan. There's also here with this other kite, with that sacred alchemy in opposition to Pluto retrograde. Pluto retrograde right now is really teaching us about the law of resonance. And that means there are things at a heart soul level that we are in resonance to. Thus, with the last quarter moon in Taurus, there's a lot of surrendering to the divine light. Actually, Taurus is a zodiac archetype that holds the divine light, because we all start with Aries, with the creation, so casting this grid, wanting a certain desire of manifestation. But then with the second archetype, we need to hold that light of intention. And that's what we're being asked here through the cosmos, reorganizing itself to play out in your favor, to show you your direction in your highest timeline. There's going to be some shedding, and with that trine here between the sun and Chiron in retrograde, there's a lot of lessons learned from past wounds. Yes, the divine is supporting you energetically to release some of the things that you might have built around your auric field, certain walls, certain shields, in order for you now to ascend and align with your truest essence and purpose. So what I'm going to do here, because those energies have been intense, I'm going to recommend some energy work if some of you are interested. I have this perfect frequency called Surrender is the Portal. I play certain frequencies that act as sonopuncture, which is like musical acupuncture on your body so you can relax and surrender to this light, surrender to the divine plan. And then we see here that we have Mercury that is involved in those sacred geometries, and there's an opportunity here for greater clarity that's coming through. With this frequency, I'm going to suggest for the ones that like to chant, because when you chant, when you emanate a sound, you're vibrating and you're receiving with the music another vibration. So that means the more you vibrate with whatever is going on and you receive those higher frequencies, whatever is misaligned, that doesn't belong, that is in dissonance, is going to fall away naturally, energetically. So if you don't like to chant, you can always just hum. That works perfectly. You're emanating your own vibrational music, so you can still have that effect. The ones that like to chant, I would suggest you looking into my Chiron playlist. I'm going to put the link here for the Chiron playlist, and use the mantra that I use for your personal placement in the zodiac. And if you want to even further this energy work, I'm going to recommend the mudra that connects you to the air element, Ajna, okay, which is your palms up with your thumb and index together. And as you're listening to Surrender is the Portal, which I'm going to link here, and you might want to chant or hum and holding this, which will bring you more clarity. This is what is going to unfold for you, allowing the divine to speak to you through its energy. And what might happen is that you might have certain thoughts or certain ideas or certain sensation. Sometimes the clarity happens when you're doing the session, when you're doing the attunement, when you're doing the meditation, but sometimes the full picture comes after, when you're out of that trance and meditative state. At times in life, we go through major changes, losses, drastic moments that are actually calling us closer to the divine. We might not know always the whys and the reasoning behind, but through this particular cycle and through connecting more intimately with the light, the sacred light that flows through you, you're going to be able to receive certain messages energetically. And as you trust the process, its meaning will unfold and reveal itself to you. Namaste.